What is up, guys? I hope you're well, and today we're covering r/entitled parents. Today I've picked out some stories which hopefully ain't covered by anyone else. I looked around a bit and hopefully I found some, so let me know if you've heard these before. If you're new here, we're a community-based narration channel, and if you like the content, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and that notification bell. It really does help. And as always, support the music artists because they're just epic. And with that being said, let's get into today's stories. Our first story is from Tinder Guy 11, entitled Mum Trains Kids to Be Just Like Her. This happened several years ago. I was driving in my car listening to Bon Jovi on my radio, singing along to Living on a Prayer, when I saw a mother and her two kids standing by the side of the road and frantically trying to flag me over. This was in a time where I already learned that nothing good ever comes from picking people up from the sides of the road, yet I still had the mindset that one day maybe somebody really would need my help, and I didn't want to prejudge them because other people had been a-holes in the past. I pulled my car over and rolled my window down, asking if they were okay. Tearful, the mother said that her oldest son was in hospital and she desperately needed a ride to get to him. I told them to hop in and I would drive them. South Africa is a very poor country, so whole families counting on rides really isn't in any way uncommon. The mother climbed into the back seat with her youngest son. He couldn't have been older than 5 or 6, and her daughter, probably around 12, climbed into the front seat. This is important. All the hospitals were in opposite directions that I was going in, so I turned my car round and started in the general direction. I asked her which hospital her son was in, and she gave me the name. I knew exactly where it was, so continued driving. The mother asked my name, and I introduced myself as Roland. This wasn't my real name, but was an alias I had started using when introducing myself to homeless people and hitchhikers. She introduced herself as Entitled Mother, EM. We drove in silence for about a minute when the daughter started sobbing. The following line exchange occurred between her and her mother, translated from Afrikaans. The daughter said, "Mum, I don't want to sleep on the street tonight." "I know, baby, but I know God will provide a miracle." "But Mum, where will the miracle come from?" "Maybe he's already sent it." I facepalmed hypothetically as I knew where this was going. The EM to me, "Roland, won't you help us?" "I am helping you. I'm driving you 30 minutes in the opposite direction of where I was going." "But please, I'm a single mother and I need you to just open your heart. I can't have my children sleep on the street and I just need some money for food and some school things." Daughter says, "Yes, Roland, please just help us." I was getting uncomfortable, but was sticking to my guns. "I'm sorry, I can't do that." EM said, "Why not? You're rich." I really wasn't. "Yeah, I'm not." "You're rich enough to help us." "Listen, lady, I'm not going to give you any money, so if you don't drop this, I'm not going to take you to see your son either." EM says, "Fine, then if you're not going to help us, then drive us to insert business park here." That's nowhere near the hospital. Have you forgotten about your son?" "If you're not going to help us, then we can't afford to visit him." Okay. I drove her to the new place she had requested and pulled over the car. The EM said, "I'm not getting out until you help us." The daughter says, "Yes, please, Roland, just help us. God sent you." I say, "I'm not going to help you." This exchange continued for a while until she finally got out, calling me a bunch of choice phrases in the process. I thought that was the end of it. Silly rabbit. Cut forward a few months later. I don't recall what I was listening to at the time, but I was near a place I had picked them up the first time when I see a 6-year-old boy standing, crying, alone next to the road. I'd mostly forgotten about my incident with EM and stopped to ask the kid if he was okay. The little boy was still crying, and I told him to get into my car so I could drive him to a police station. Out of nowhere, the same entitled mother appears and gets into the car as well. She's in the back, the young boy in the front. I recognised her instantly, but she obviously did not remember me. She started her line, reading, and rehearsed the same story about having a son in the hospital, blah blah. I just played dumb. Then it happened. Little boy said, "Mum, I don't want to sleep on the street tonight." "I know, baby, but I know God will provide a miracle." "But Mum, where will that miracle come from?" "Maybe he's already sent it." Hearing this, I was actually mad. By now, I obviously knew that the mother was a con lady, but literally teaching her children scripted lines, teaching them that from an age as young as her son. I felt slightly sickened. EM started asking me for money again, but this time I just ignored her. I pulled her in front of the police station and warned her that she has 10 seconds to vacate my vehicle. I was going to get someone to do it for her. She cursed me again, but complied, and this would be the end. Right? Nope. Cut forward a few years, I'm driving again, in a completely different side of town when 2 young girls literally jump in front of my car and yell for me to stop. I roll the window down, and frantically, they tell me that some guys are chasing them and I need to get them out of there. I quickly unlock the car doors and they get in, one in front, one in the back. I start speeding away and ask them if I should drive to the police station. They say no and ask me to drive them to town. Then it fucking happens. The one in the front speaks the word. Friend, I don't want to sleep on the street tonight. I know, but don't worry. God will provide a miracle. But where would that miracle come from? Maybe he's already sent it. Girl 1 was entitled Mother's Daughter that had been in the car a few years earlier. I can write the entire story about this third and final trip, but that one belongs on a much darker subreddit. Update. As requested by many of you, I've written the last part of the story, but is currently awaiting moderator approval. I shall post a link once it's been approved. God, I want to know what happens in the third one, especially if it's darker. But I mean, come on. I mean, South Africa as well. I know South Africa's a dangerous place in certain parts. But dude, you need to stop picking people up. You're going to get yourself hurt one day if you keep picking people like that up. I know there's good Samaritans and stuff, but there's a limit, man. You got to look after yourself as well. But what a shit, mum. I know people are like in desperate poverty in some places, but using your children like that, you can only hope that they, at some point in their life, that they have some positivity, you know. This next story is from Finab Hair Hawklight. Sorry if I absolutely butchered that one. My entitled dad. My dad can be super entitled, much more so when I was younger. I was very picky when I was on Ritalin. I also have a very sensitive sense of smell, and my dad has not smelled anything since a concussion when he was in his 20s and was in kindergarten, so around 6 or 7. Normally we would pick our cereal and then pour the milk, but today my dad had picked one out and poured the milk before I got there. I refused to eat it. It smells off. Dad, eat, you're going to be late. I guess thinking that I was being picky and not getting to choose a cereal myself, or that it was already soggy, which admittedly I did not like. I said, no, it smells. He glares at me. Eat it. Note my dad at this time had anger issues and had recently nearly lifted me by the jaw and shook me when I started crying from his fingers digging in. I do not remember now why he grabbed me in the first place, but I remembered it well then, so I ate it. My dad gets me and my brother loaded up on the bus. My brother, by the way, had oatmeal and orange juice. On the way to school, my stomach churns and aches. They drop us outside to hit in the hot southern sun with our nearly 100% humidity while they open the school. I projectile vomited all over the sidewalk, hitting some other kids. The monitor got me inside to lay down as my mum and dad were called. My mum asked me what was wrong. I told her I was feeling better, but the milk smelled wrong that morning. My mum keeps spoiled, but not chunky milk for bacon where the flavour was covered, and the heat killed off anything. The milk had gone bad 3 days before, and she bought a new gallon, but my dad ignored her, saying that the old one was bad, and tried to use it up. And let's hope your dad learned a valuable lesson that day. But I mean, come on. He sounds like, I don't know, you're lifting you up by your jaw. What the hell? That's not right, man. This next story is from Got Beans, entitled Dad Yells at Me for Shaking My Leg, then takes my spot at a meeting. This happened a couple of months back, around October time, when I had my first parents' evening in college. My mum was with me, and we got to my meeting about half an hour early, so we decided to get some food in the cafe while we wait. There was no queue, so we took the opportunity while it was there. I get a Sunday dinner sandwich, turkey, stuffing and cranberry sauce, while my mum just has a coffee. We find a couple of seats right next to our meeting, and I start to eat my sandwich. Halfway through my second slice, when the sudden realisation kicks in, oh fuck, my mum's going to know how bad I'm doing in college. I could lose a lot of shit for this, and she is going to lose hers. I can't let her know I'm scared, because she knows something is up. She does know occasionally I bounce my leg, but doesn't know why, so I take advantage of that, so naturally I start shaking. She gives me a slight look, then rolls her eyes, and goes back to drinking her coffee. This catches the attention of a random dad, who doesn't seem to know why people bounce their leg either, and he comes up and sits next to me. We're both silent for a few seconds, until I muster up the courage to say, hi, in a friendly tone. But dad doesn't even say hi back, he just tells me to stop shaking your leg, it's very distracting, and quite frankly, annoying. I just say, oh, sorry, and try to stop. But my sort of fight or flight response is still going, so I can only stop for a couple of seconds. There you go again, purposely being annoying. I try to explain that it's not something I can really control. And then this son of a bitch literally screams at me, saying, you kids are the whole reason we're fucked, and you only care about yourselves. Shit like that, for about 15 minutes. I stay silent for the rest of the wait, but other people try and reason with the ED, and told them that their children do the same thing, and it's because of anxiety. And all the other parents and students tell me, it's okay, everyone gets anxiety at these sort of things. Just get the meeting over with, and you won't have to do this again, in the least condescending tone I've heard compared to every other boomer I've encountered. The dad then goes back to his own seat, and I see he's with the quietest kid in the class. Ironic. Finally, around 15 minutes of this dad yelling at me for having anxiety, there's a free spot on my tutor's table. So naturally, get up to get the meeting done. But just like Brexit, there's always something else in the way. 3 guesses who takes my spot. You guessed it, or read the title. The fucking dad that yelled at me for having anxiety, and I heard everyone tell me, get the meeting done. Took my spot with a shit-eating grin on his wrinkly ass face and gave me a little wink. And this fucker takes his time, asking the stupidest questions just to waste time. I know for a fact these meetings are supposed to take 5 to 10 minutes, but this guy takes half an hour. More time than he spent yelling at me, just asking stupid questions about food prices and does he get homework. He leaves with the same wrinkly ass, shit-eating grin on his face, and I finally get my meeting done. It turned out my anxiety triggered for no reason, because I'm actually doing pretty well, and got a green in every aspect of the project we had done up to that point. He finishes off the meeting telling me, don't worry, his son only has ambers and reds, you're doing way better than him anyway. And I just say, really? Oh. Then say bye and go. Me and my mum get back to the car, and she pops out there, and then with, OP, do you want to go for a checkup while we're already out? Or leave it for another time? I just go with another time because I literally want to go home at that point. My mum is a pretty big procrastinator, and we're only just going for that checkup at the end of January. Wish me luck. I wish you luck, my dude. If you think your mum doesn't know you're shaking your leg as anxiety, I'm pretty sure she does. Mums have a sixth sense for these kind of things. And I'm not sure if I quite believe that a teacher would tell you someone else's results. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe that person's a little shit and they thought, well, why the hell not? And saw what a predicament you was in and wanted to make you feel better. Possibly. But who knows? What do you guys make of that story? I would love to know. And I'm afraid this is the end of today's stories, guys. If you did enjoy these stories, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. We're trying to get this channel back on track, so believe me, it would make all the difference if you could do any of the above. Thank you so much, guys. Take care now. Much love.